The silent betrayal. Fleet Commander Elena Reeves stood perfectly still on the observation deck of the EDF Intrepid, her gaze fixed on the massive crystalline structure that housed the Galactic Unity headquarters. The structure hung suspended in the void, its translucent surfaces refracting starlight into rainbow patterns that would normally inspire awe. Today, she felt only a growing sense of dread. "Commander, you need to see this immediately." Lieutenant Commander Seto's voice broke the silence as he entered the deck, holding a quantum datapad with white-knuckled intensity. Elena turned, noting the unusual tension in her normally composed intelligence officer. "What have you found, Akira?" "The encryption team finally broke through the security protocols on those strange transmissions we intercepted near Proxima Station." He handed her the datapad, his dark eyes serious. "It's worse than we imagined." Elena accepted the device, her expression hardening as she began to read. The decoded messages revealed a coordinated plot among the senior species of the Galactic Unity, the ancient Arcadians with their millennium-old empire, the technologically advanced Vrel, and the militaristic Kitheri. All were unified in a secret agreement to contain and eventually subjugate Earth and its colonies. "They're afraid of us," Elena whispered, scrolling through detailed plans for restricting human expansion, technology embargoes, and eventually manufactured incidents to justify military action against Earth's outposts. According to these files, the first coordinated strikes against our outer colonies begin in 72 hours, Seto confirmed, disguised as pirate raids to maintain plausible deniability. Elena placed the datapad down, her mind racing. Humanity joined the Galactic Unity in good faith. We've adhered to every treaty, contributed technology, participated in peacekeeping missions. Her voice trailed off as she continued reading specific details. "They cite our concerning rate of technological advancement as the primary justification," Seto explained. "The Arcadians took 700 years to develop gravity manipulation technology. We did it in less than 80. They believe we'll outpace and eventually dominate them if left unchecked." Elena's eyes narrowed as she reached a particular section. "These Vrel shield improvements they've been boasting about, they're based on Dr. Cartwright's designs that the Unity Council officially rejected last year as potentially destabilizing to the galactic balance of power." "Yes, Commander. They've been systematically stealing our innovation while simultaneously working to contain us." Elena straightened her uniform jacket, her decision made. "Contact Earth Defense Command immediately. Priority Alpha Black. Send everything we have. Then prepare the Intrepid for immediate departure." "Where are we headed, Commander?" "Back to Unity headquarters. I need to speak with Ambassador Chen personally." The emergency session of Earth's Defense Council convened virtually, with representatives joining from across human space. Elena observed the grim faces of Earth's military and political leadership as they absorbed the evidence she had presented. "This data is conclusive," Secretary General Okafor stated from her office in New Geneva. "After 15 years of peaceful cooperation, the senior members of the Galactic Unity are planning coordinated strikes against our colonies." Admiral Jackson, commander of Earth's Defense Fleet, leaned forward. "We always suspected the older species might view us as a threat. Humanity's adaptability and innovation make many of the other species uncomfortable enough to plan our systematic containment and eventual subjugation," Elena added. The room fell silent as the implications settled on everyone present. "What are our options?" asked General Rodriguez of the Colonial Marine Corps. "Conventional wisdom would suggest a preemptive strike," Admiral Jackson responded. "Hit their key military installations before they can organize their attack. But that means war with at least 3 major powers in the Unity." "Perhaps not the entire Unity," Elena interjected. "According to these files, many of the younger member species aren't involved in this conspiracy. Some might even be next on their list after humanity is dealt with." "Are you suggesting we could find allies among the Unity members?" Secretary General Okafor asked. "Possibly," Elena replied. But first, we need to demonstrate that threatening humanity was their most significant miscalculation. A thin smile spread across Admiral Jackson's face. I believe it's time to activate Protocol Midnight Sun. Several members of the Council exchanged meaningful glances. The protocol had been developed years ago as a contingency plan, a response to precisely this type of existential threat. Are we certain? Secretary General Okafor asked. Once initiated, there's no turning back. They've given us no choice. Admiral Jackson replied. They move against our colonies in 72 hours. The Secretary General nodded gravely. Put it to a vote. One by one, the Council members cast their votes. The result was unanimous. Very well, Okafor announced. Protocol Midnight Sun is now active. Commander Reeves, you will deliver our terms to the Unity leadership. They will have 24 hours to comply or face the consequences. The Great Assembly Hall of the Galactic Unity hummed with activity as representatives from over 30 sapient species discussed matters of interstellar policy. The cavernous chamber had been designed to accommodate beings of vastly different physiologies, atmospheric bubbles for methane breathers, gravity adjustments for high-gravity species, and temperature-controlled zones for those with specific environmental needs. Ambassador Michael Chen of Earth entered flanked by 2 human security officers. His normally warm diplomatic demeanor had been replaced by cold determination as he approached the central speaking platform. Arch-Sovereign Jakor of the Arcadians, currently presiding over the assembly, noticed his approach with visible surprise. Ambassador Chen, the Arcadian's melodic voice echoed through the chamber. The Earth delegation was not scheduled to address the assembly today. I invoke emergency speaking privileges under Article 12 of the Unity Charter, Chen replied, his voice steady, on grounds of imminent threat to galactic peace and security. Murmurs spread through the assembly as representatives turned to each other in confusion. Chikor's gossamer tendrils rippled, an Arcadian expression of annoyance. But the rules were clear. The assembly recognizes Earth Ambassador Chen. You have the floor. Chen stepped onto the central platform, placing a small device before him. Representatives of the Galactic Unity. For 15 years, Earth has been a loyal member of this body. We have shared our resources, contributed to mutual defense, and upheld every principle in the Unity Charter. He paused, scanning the faces and various sensory appendages of the assembled representatives. In return, certain members of this assembly have conspired against us. Chen activated his device. Holographic displays throughout the chamber lit up, showing the intercepted communications, plans for attacks on human colonies, and records of secret meetings. These documents, which we have verified as authentic, reveal a plot to attack Earth's outer colonies within the next 72 hours, disguised as pirate raids. The chamber erupted in noise. Some representatives rose in apparent shock, others in protest. A few, notably the Arcadians, Vrel and Katheri, remained suspiciously composed. General K. Vash of the Katheri military delegation rose to his full imposing height. These are fabrications. The human delegation attempts to distract from their own violations of technology-sharing protocols. If these were fabrications, General, Chen replied calmly, how would I know about your meeting with Arch-Sovereign Jakor and Vrel High Engineer Zextal in the Uranus Nebula 6 days ago? A meeting that appears in no official record. Kavash's upper mandibles clicked in agitation. The truth, Chen continued, is that you fear us. Humans have advanced too quickly for your comfort. We've solved problems in ways you hadn't anticipated. We didn't conform to the established hierarchy that your species have maintained for millennia. He looked directly at Arch-Sovereign Jakor. And so you decided to eliminate us as a potential rival before we became too powerful to control. Jakor floated forward. These are serious accusations, Ambassador. Even if some elements within the Unity have acted overzealously, surely we can resolve this through established diplomatic channels. No, Chen's response cut through the chamber. The time for diplomacy is over. Earth has authorized me to deliver our terms. The holographic displays changed to show a new document. Immediate dissolution of the current Unity leadership and full investigation into this conspiracy. Complete reparations for all stolen human technology and comprehensive disclosure of how it has been implemented. A new treaty recognizing Earth's full sovereignty and right to independent defense initiatives. You have 24 hours to comply with these terms, Chen stated, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. If they are not met, humanity withdraws from the galactic unity permanently. His voice hardened as he delivered the final warning. And when we leave, I would advise putting as much distance between yourselves and human space as possible. High Engineer Zextal of the Vrel laughed, the sound clicking through his vocal synthesizer. And what will your species do against 30 others, human? Your fleets are outnumbered 20-1. Your colonies could be reduced to cosmic dust before your primitive ships could even respond. Ambassador Chen looked at the Vrel, his expression completely calm but his eyes cold. Run, he said simply. Then he collected his device, turned his back on the stunned assembly, and walked out of the great hall, his security detail following behind. 6 hours later, the Unity leadership held an emergency vote, the final tally. 27 members in favor of rejecting Earth's outrageous demands, 2 abstentions, and 1 vote in support of negotiation. Arch-Sovereign Jikor addressed the assembly after the vote. The humans have clearly overestimated their importance in galactic affairs. We will proceed with containment measures as planned, but accelerated to prevent any further human provocation. As the representatives filed out, a small delegation from the Novan Collective approached the Arcadian leader. Sovereign Jikor, my government is concerned. The Novan representative chittered nervously. The human ambassador seemed unusually confident. What if they truly have some capability we haven't anticipated? Jikor's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with amusement. The humans are bluffing. They're resourceful and unpredictable. Yes, but they're still a young species barely out of their gravity well. Their confidence is merely the arrogance of youth. Unknown to the departing council members, a microscopic quantum transmitter hidden in the chamber's decorative elements had broadcast everything back to the waiting Earth fleet. Fleet Commander Elena Reeves received the transmission aboard the Intrepid as it maintained position just outside Unity space. Her face showed no emotion as she closed the communication channel. They've made their choice, she said to her bridge crew. Initiate Operation Midnight Sun. All ships, battle stations. Throughout human space, previously dormant defense systems began to activate. On Earth and every human colony, specialized facilities that had been disguised as research stations or power plants powered up. In orbit around seemingly insignificant moons and asteroids, hidden installations prepared weapons systems unlike anything the Galactic Unity had ever encountered. Humanity had been preparing for this possibility since the day they discovered they weren't alone in the universe. The Galactic Unity was about to learn why threatening humans was the greatest mistake they could have made. Humanity Unleash. The Vrel battlecruiser Inexorable Dominion moved into position above the human colony of New Horizon. High Commander Zexvar observed the blue-green whirl through the ship's primary sensor array, his compound eyes taking in the vulnerable settlements scattered across the planet's surface. Tactical analysis complete, High Commander, his first officer reported. The human colony has minimal orbital defenses, standard shield generators, and a small fleet of patrol vessels. Nothing that can challenge our battle group. Zexvar clicked in satisfaction. Commence the attack. Remember, this must appear to be a pirate raid. Disable their communication satellites first, then target their defense grid. As ordered, High Commander. The Vrel battle group powered up their weapons systems, the energy signatures carefully modified to match known pirate configurations. The first salvos streaked toward New Horizons' orbital platforms. Then something unexpected happened. The energy bolts seemed to warp and bend before they could reach their targets, dissipating harmlessly in the vacuum. Simultaneously, previously invisible energy fields flickered into existence around the colony. High Commander. The tactical officer's voice rose in alarm. The humans have deployed some kind of advanced defensive system. Our weapons are being redirected. Before Zexvar could respond, a new signal cut across all communication channels. A human voice, calm and precise. Attention Vrel vessels. This is New Horizon Defense Command. We are aware this is not a pirate attack, but a coordinated strike authorized by the Galactic Unity leadership. You have violated sovereign human space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Zexvar's mandibles clicked in agitation. How could they possibly know? He cut himself off. Intensify the attack. Full weapons discharge. Overwhelm their defenses. The Vrel battle group unleashed their full arsenal, plasma lances, graviton disruptors, and quantum torpedoes, enough firepower to reduce the colony's defenses to atoms. Again, the attacks never reached their targets. This time, the defensive fields around New Horizon pulsed with increasing brightness. Energy readings on the Vrel ship's sensors spiked dramatically. High Commander, they're not just blocking our attacks, the science officer reported in disbelief. They're absorbing the energy. A series of blindingly fast objects suddenly launched from the planet's surface. Before the Vrel sensors could even classify them, the objects had reached the battle group. They attached themselves to the hulls of the Vrel ships, bypassing shields as if they weren't there. What are these devices? Zexvar demanded. Scan them immediately. They appear to be some kind off. The tactical officer never finished his sentence. Throughout the Vrel battle group, ship systems began shutting down. Propulsion, weapons, shields, even life support. Everything went dark. Only emergency power and basic life support remained functional. The human voice returned to their communications. Your vessels have been neutralized by our quantum disruption modules. Your weapons and propulsion systems are disabled. You are no longer a threat. Zexvar stared at his dead control panels in disbelief. Impossible. How could the humans possess such technology? The Unity intelligence reports indicated they were at least a century away from developing anything like this. Similar scenes were playing out across human space. At Europa Station, Ktheri warships found their advanced targeting systems suddenly inverted, their own weapons turning back upon them. Near the Titan mining facility, Arcadian vessels discovered their vaunted phase shift technology rendered useless by precise gravitational distortions that anchored them in normal space. In every location where the Unity forces had planned to strike, they found not the vulnerable targets they expected, but prepared defenses unlike anything they had encountered before. On Earth, in the underground command center beneath New Geneva, Secretary General Okafor received the reports with grim satisfaction. All attacks against our colonies have been successfully repelled. Admiral Jackson confirmed. 0 casualties on our side. The enemy forces have been neutralized but not destroyed, as per your orders. Excellent. Okafor nodded. Phase 1 of Operation Midnight Sun is complete. Begin Phase 2. Jackson turned to his communications officer. Transmit the signal. All units, execute Phase 2. Throughout human space, hidden installations activated. From Earth's moon, from Mars, from asteroids and seemingly abandoned space stations, a new kind of vessel emerged. They didn't resemble conventional warships, more like sleek, dark shadows against the stars, barely visible even to advanced sensors. These were humanity's true deterrent, developed in secret over the past decade. Ghost ships, they called them. Vessels equipped with technology that the senior members of the Galactic Unity had deemed too destabilizing to exist. Within hours, these ships had positioned themselves near key military installations throughout Unity space. None had been detected. At the Unity Central Command on Arcadia Prime, Supreme War Leader Chikara received increasingly desperate communications from the fleet commanders. What do you mean our attacks failed? She demanded of her senior commanders. How could the humans possibly have anticipated and countered coordinated strikes across 3 sectors? The humans appear to have deployed advanced defensive technology at every target location. General Thex replied, his tendrils writhing in agitation. Technology that should be beyond their capabilities. And now we've lost contact with the 7th Fleet near their Proxima colony, another commander added. The last transmission indicated some kind of system-wide failure affecting all vessels simultaneously. Chikara was about to respond when the entire command center suddenly went dark. Emergency lighting activated seconds later, casting the room in an eerie blue glow. "What is happening?" she demanded. "Restore power immediately." "We can't, Supreme Leader," the chief engineer responded. "Something has bypassed all our security protocols. It's like nothing I've ever seen." Every display in the command center suddenly activated, showing the same image, a human woman in a military uniform. Fleet Commander Elena Reeves of the Earth Defense Force. Supreme War Leader Chikara. Elena began without preamble. "By now you've realized that your attacks against human colonies have failed. What you may not yet understand is that this was never going to be a fight you could win." Chikara stared at the human face on the screen. "How are you broadcasting directly into our central command?" "This facility has the highest security in the Unity," Elena continued as if she hadn't heard the interruption. "At this moment, Earth vessels have positioned themselves near every major military installation in Arcadian, Vrel, and Cathari space. We could have destroyed your forces already, but unlike you, we prefer to avoid unnecessary casualties." Displays around the command center changed to show the positions of human ships throughout Unity space, positions that should have been impossible for them to reach undetected. "How?" Chikara whispered. "You believed you understood humanity's capabilities," Elena continued. "You studied our official ships, our shared technology, our conventional weapons. What you failed to grasp is that humans have been preparing for existential threats since before we left our home planet. When we discovered we weren't alone in the universe, we hoped for peace, but we planned for war. Every piece of technology we shared with the Unity was carefully selected, impressive enough to earn respect, but never revealing our true capabilities. You speak of stolen designs," Chikara hissed. "Those rejected designs you stole." Elena smiled thinly. "They were meant to be stolen. Functional, yes, but obsolete by our standards and embedded with subtle flaws that we could exploit if necessary." Chikara's tendrils went still, a sign of extreme shock in an Arcadian. "Why reveal yourselves now? You could have continued this deception." "Because despite your betrayal, we still believe in the possibility of peaceful coexistence," Elena replied. "But that peace must be built on honesty and mutual respect, not subjugation and fear." She leaned closer to the camera. "Humanity is extending one final offer. Stand down your forces. Acknowledge our sovereignty. Help us build a unity based on true cooperation rather than hierarchy and domination." Chikara's compound eyes narrowed. "And if we refuse, then we will demonstrate why threatening humanity was your most significant error. You have 6 hours to respond. Choose wisely." The transmission ended, leaving the Arcadian command center in stunned silence. Across the galaxy, smaller Unity member species watched the unfolding events with growing concern. Many had quietly questioned the dominant species' approach to humanity, but had been too politically weak to object. The Novans were the first to break ranks. Their ambassadors formally requested emergency talks with Earth, disavowing any connection to the planned attacks. The Tellurians followed, then the Feroci. Within hours, a coalition of 14 junior species had formed, all seeking separate peace with humanity. As the deadline approached, the Unity Council convened an emergency session. The debate was heated, with the senior species finding their traditional authority openly challenged for the first time in millennia. In the end, pragmatism prevailed. Even the arrogant Arcadians couldn't deny the evidence before them. Humanity possessed technology beyond their comprehension and had infiltrated their most secure facilities with apparent ease. A war would be devastating, with uncertain outcomes. With minutes to spare before Elena's deadline, Arch-Sovereign Jakor transmitted the Unity's response. They would accept humanity's terms. 1 month later, representatives gathered in the newly constructed Concordance Hall on Luna. Unlike the hierarchical arrangement of the old Unity Assembly, here all species sat in a circle, symbolizing their equal status in what was now called the Galactic Concordance. Ambassador Chen addressed the assembly. The events of the past month have transformed our understanding of each other. Old hierarchies have fallen, and with them, old prejudices. Now we begin the challenging work of building a truly cooperative interstellar community. Elena Reeves, watching from the observation gallery, felt a complex mixture of relief and caution. Humanity had revealed enough of their capabilities to ensure their security, but had kept their most advanced technologies in reserve, a lesson learned from the Unity's betrayal. As the session concluded, Novan Representative Tazil approached Elena, the small insectoid being tilted its head inquisitively. "Commander Reeves, my species has long been fascinated by humanity's adaptability. But I must ask, how did your kind develop such advanced technology without the other species noticing?" Elena smiled. "Necessity and paranoia, Representative. Throughout our history, humans have prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. We compartmentalized our research, disguised our true capabilities, and never stopped preparing for the day we might need to defend ourselves." Tizil's antennae quivered thoughtfully, a trait I suspect many species will now adopt. "Perhaps," Elena acknowledged, "but I hope instead we learn a different lesson. That true security comes not from technological superiority or military might, but from building societies where such advantages need never be used." The Novan chittered in what Elena had come to recognize as laughter. "You humans continue to surprise us. You possess the power to dominate, yet you speak of cooperation. You prepared for war while working for peace. That's humanity's great contradiction," Elena replied, watching as the diverse representatives mingled below. "We're capable of both tremendous destruction and remarkable compassion. The species that underestimated us learned about the former. Now we have the opportunity to demonstrate the latter." As Earth's new dawn spread across the lunar landscape, illuminating the assembly hall, Elena reflected on how close the galaxy had come to a devastating conflict. The stars no longer seemed quite so welcoming, but neither did they seem quite so threatening. Humanity had taken its place among the galactic community, not as conquerors or subjects, but as equals who had earned their position. The path forward would be complex, with old resentments and new challenges to navigate. But for the first time, it would be a path shaped by genuine cooperation rather than coercion. And if threats emerged again, humanity would be ready, as they had always been.